So I'm going to do 5 videos, one each on the ways that lawyers screw up their lives making dumb decisions. And that may sound very judgmental or superior, but that's not my point. The point is that I want to give all of us a do-over before we do something that we want to do over again. That's kind of a cryptic way of saying, we have things we regret and we wish, oh my God, if I could just go back and do them over again. Well, we want to get out in front of it so that when we get to that decision tree, we can make the right decision rather than living with regrets about making the wrong decision. And the first one I'm going to talk about is relationships. And a couple of reasons I've chosen it. One, I'm just a relationship guy. It's what I value most in life. And so I want to talk about, it's my first choice. But also because I've just seen up close and personal the really dramatic and sometimes tragic effects that we have when we make really bad decisions about relationships. And when I'm saying bad, I'm not saying, should I stay or should I go? I mean, leaving my first marriage was one of the best things I ever did because it opened up the door to a love beyond my dreams and it created the man that, I am today and you see in front of you. But whatever we do with our relationships, and I'm talking about relationship with our significant other, if that's the term du jour to talk about what used to be, girlfriends and boyfriends and wives and husbands and stuff. But anyway, whatever it is we want to do, we want to be honest and we want to be intentional. And what do I mean by that? The way that I've seen, and I saw this, before I was even a lawyer, when I was just in law school, I was clerking for a firm and I was working under a youngish lawyer. He's older than me, but obviously, but he was young and good guy, sweet guy, went to Duquesne where I went to law school. I went there because they accepted me. He went there because he was Catholic. Had a beautiful wife that he adored and adored him. And they just had a very sweet relationship. And over the course of the years that I was clerking there, I watched him kind of start to spin out of control a little bit more. Our lunches became 3-hour lunches where I watched him drink for the last 2 hours. And he got involved in some business deals and it seemed a little sketchy. And then at the end, just downright shady. And I watched his work, things at work suffered. But I thought, oh, he's got this, this sweet woman. He's got this marriage. He's got this. And as long as he's got that, he's going to be fine. And, sure enough, when that marriage went, he went. And he ended up misappropriating some funds and ended up in jail. And I'm not saying, don't leave your spouse because you'll end up in jail. No, that's not it. Where he, quote, went wrong was twofold. One, not valuing the stabilizing, normalizing, and loving relationship that he had, which still kept him centered while he was going about this behavior that could have gone either way. But when he lost the gravitational pull of that relationship, he started to spin out. So one is just valuing the us that you and your partner are and the role that can play in your life, the role that it does play in your life. But more importantly, what I saw with him, and it's funny because one of the last lawyers I worked with before I retired in practice also went to jail, and he also had a good marriage. And when the marriage went, he went. It's a question of honesty, of being honest with yourself. If you want to end a relationship or end a marriage or whatever it is that you want to do, then do it. But what I've seen, we're so good at spinning the story that we want to spin, is that we work the edges. And I've seen this with these two attorneys and many other lawyers as well. They start to get a little bit more out of control and a little bit more out of control until they're outside of the orbit of the value system that they have, which is embedded in the relationship, so that they can actually become someone who can make a stupid choice that ends up ruining the relationship. And that might have been a rather, cryptic way of saying what I want to say. But what I've seen a lot of people do, and I especially see lawyers do, is that they allow themselves to spin a little bit more out of control, a little bit out of control, a little bit out of control, until they're far enough out that they no longer feel their values, their truer selves, their sense of intuition, their sense of just morality, for lack of a better word. And so, one, if you find yourself on that, if you find yourself, you know what, I really want it. I really kind of, don't want to be in this marriage, but I don't know how to get out of it. So I'm just going to get out of myself so that I'll become a new self that can get out of this, or just so I screw things up with this person won't stay with me. They, sabotage. Just be conscious of that. Don't get to that point. Just be honest with yourself and be honest with your partner. So one, check your behavior. See if you are kind of intentionally spinning out a little bit more, allowing yourself the leeway of spinning out so it can be something different. And the other is to really value that which you have and see the true value. And again, that doesn't mean you stay if it's not right. I talked about getting out of the law when you hit your expiration date. Certainly it's true with a marriage. But don't minimize that which you have. Whatever decision you make with your eyes wide open. It doesn't mean it'll be easy. You might find you have something good, but it's not sustainable. That's okay. But just be honest with yourself. And this self-honesty serves us in everything. But what I don't want people to do, when you start screwing up relationships, it's not just about you anymore. I just want you to be honest. I want you to be intentional. I want you to watch what you're doing. If you want out, don't make a mess out of your life so you can get out. Just get the hell out. And if you want to stay in, then just take actions that will keep you within the orbit of that which you value the most. And then whatever happens with the relationship will be fine. But don't go out and destroy something beautiful or even end something that's not beautiful in a way that's ugly. Just do it in a way that's elegant, that's peaceful as much as it can be, and has as much honor in it as possible.